Hi, and welcome to Underground Video Network. Mike here, and from behind the camera, we got Richard.
Richard. Peanuts MIA again. He's doing some family stuff or something, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. But there was just so much to talk about this past couple weeks that we just had to jump on the ball. We're going to start off talking about the new Batman and Robin. And no, Joel Schumacher didn't get a revamp of the movie. No, we got here Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley have picked up the franchise. Guess you could say it like that.
Right.
Taking on the new team and
Spoiler warning.
spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't read.
We're going to go ahead and say what we want to say.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't read this or kept up with Batman Battle for the Cowl, go read it and come back. We'll wait. But no, the new team, as many people have heard, if you're not living in a cave, which Batman is, Batman has died, supposedly. Final Crisis, which most people weren't the biggest fans of. I know I wasn't, I didn't care.
Well,
it had its moments.
Yeah, it's because Darkseid had to get back at him, beating him up with his gloves.
Yeah, I mean it was a crappy story with some really good moments, but Bruce Wayne did perish, as far as we know, and after the series Battle for the Cowl, Dick Grayson, the original Robin, has decided to step up and take the mantle of Batman, which just seemed like such a perfect fit. He was so adamant about it at first, and it made sense that he was so adamant about it. Those were some big shoes to fill, and this was his father. And it was
this is what he was trained to do.
Yeah. But as for Robin, for people who haven't really been keeping up with Batman, you're going to be kind of lost. But Robin is Damian. His name is Damian. He is the illegitimate son of Bruce Wayne and Ra's al Ghul's daughter Talia.
I'm glad he said that.
Yeah, that's a mouthful right there. He's a snot-nosed little punk that was raised by the League of Assassins and Ra's al Ghul to be Batman, with really Batman not knowing about it. And he shows up, I'm here to take your place.
Well, he's predestined.
Yeah,
supposedly.
he's quote unquote predestined to take the place, but he's stepped in as the new Robin. And I gotta be honest with you, because I'm not a big Grant Morrison fan. I'm sorry, Final Crisis didn't do it for me, but I really enjoyed this book.
It's not dark like as you were saying earlier.
Yeah, the thing I liked most about it was
lighthearted.
It was actually lighthearted. It was an entertaining read. It wasn't dark. There was no paranoia. There was no conspiracies. It was just Batman and Robin fighting crime.
Right.
And the banter between the two of them was great. I almost want to say it reminds me of the quirkiness of the original old 60s Batman television show. It was the campiness.
It's there, but it's
there.
different.
Yeah, it's a more mature, campy version.
Yeah, it's a modernized.
Yeah, except for the fact that they don't really like each other all that much, but there's such a good interaction between the two of them.
Because he's so Damian still wants to be Batman.
Oh yeah,
and he doesn't understand why he has to be Robin yet.
Yeah, and he doesn't believe Dick Grayson's worthy of the role yet. Even though Batman has trained him, he's not Batman. To Damian, he's not Batman. Right. And but I'll give him this though. For as entertaining as the story was, and it was as I say lightheartedly, but it was entertaining, and it didn't take itself too seriously. But the other thing that I really liked about it was the introduction of a new villain.
Yes.
Instead of having the new Batman and Robin face off against an old original Batman and Robin foe, they introduced a new villain, and I gotta tell you, he creeped me out. What was his name? Pig?
Something like that. Yeah.
Pig with a Y, P-Y-G, which anytime you spell any word with a Y, it just creeps me out. But he was creepy. I liked it a lot.
He's associated with some other villains or something, right? Is
yeah.
that how I interpret it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a dark circus, kind of like a Royal Flush Gang scenario, but with carnies. Which, if that's not scary enough,
it might tie back to some of Richard Grayson's past or something. Is what I'm kind of hoping.
That would be really great. And he is good about delving into backstories a lot.
Yeah. So no, I mean, that's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And along with the new Batman and Robin, the other book we wanted to talk about was the new issue of Batman, which actually, you know what, I think ties in Dick Grayson taking on the mantle of Batman far better than Battle for the Cowl did.
Oh, definitely.
This was more organic. The Battle for the Cowl 3 just felt
contrived.
Yes.
That's the word I thought of it.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like they wanted all the Robins to battle each other.
Yeah.
And it just felt like it was thrown together.
Yeah.
Is that interpretation you kind of got out of that?
Yeah, it was just kind of like, we got 3 issues to get all this stuff done.
And it forced Grayson...
It forced his hand. It forced him into the role.
Right.
It was almost like he didn't want to be, but he didn't want them to be.
Well, he had become that way.
Yeah.
He had his own personality. I mean, his persona. He had created this.
Yeah.
And he just now is back with the Titans again.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like this all came in his lap, and he's destined to be Batman.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like he was fighting it, but yet at the same time, he was into it. Or like...
Yeah. Yeah, I recommend this issue, what was it, 687, a lot more than Battle for the Cowl 3. Just for the fact that there's a scene, or I shouldn't say scene, but I guess you call it a scene, a couple panels in the book where, again, spoiler alert, the Man of Steel presents the charred corpse of Batman to Robin, and then later on they are talking to Alfred, and they ask him if he's doing okay, and the line is, no, I've lost my son, and I don't do it justice. You have to read the book. But even being as cynical as I am, reading those 2 panels, it pulled a couple heartstrings. It was touching.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I would recommend this, 687, and then Batman and Robin if you haven't read them yet. Which
even though it came out in reverse order.
Yeah, which
it's kind of, I don't know, because it was like Batman and Robin, he was Batman, and this still he hasn't quite become Batman yet.
Yeah, and you had a little bit of comic.
Red Hulk with Incredible Hulk number 600. They've been really hyping up. You don't really follow it too much, do you?
I know just the backstory where we have a Red Hulk and nobody seems to know who he is yet.
Well, I've discovered a little clue. I watched Walk Hard, the comedy of a while back, and there's a little clip in it, and we're going to show it to you.
Hey, great rehearsal, Dewey. Very funny sketch.
Thank you. Schwartzberg, have you seen the ratings? We're getting our ass kicked every week by the Incredible Hulk.
Well, last night's episode was a very special episode. They revealed that the Incredible Hulk has an evil twin, and he's not green. He's red.
I know, it was amazing. Did you see it?
You can't compete with that.
So... did the Marvel guys just sit around one night watching videos and say, hey, this sounds like a good idea?
Would you come to think of it, they must have been watching that, because if they'd have been watching any other kind of like thing with the evil twin, we'd have Red Hulk with a goatee, which, you know.
But twin, it makes sense, because at one part where the Red Hulk was being scanned by a shield and stuff, they identify him as Bruce Wayne. I mean Bruce Banner.
It's an all Bruce episode.
But you know what I mean. So it almost fits. And I was talking to some other guys at some other comic shops about that, and they go, "Oh wow, that almost makes sense."
Do you think it could be either a brother or clone?
Well, they've been throwing different ideas around some, but just throw something out of left field sounds like something Marvel would do nowadays, because I don't think they even know how to end a story anymore, because stories just go on forever.
They're turning into Lost, the TV show Lost, where it's just like, they write episode to episode, where it's like, okay, what are we doing this week? Smoke monster kills him. Run with it.
I mean, at least back in the day, Chris Claremont kind of stretched forever, but at least he knew where he was going.
Yeah, he had a laid out plan. He knew where his story was going.
You know, those guys, I mean, that's what you do. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's a story, Marvel. Stick with it.
Yeah. But
I digress. But yeah, go check that out. Watch our little clip there, and that's my interpretation of what's going on.